This episode of the Homan Podcast is brought to you by Audible. Get a free audiobook download and a 30-day free trial at audibletrial.com/HomanPodcast. Over 180,000 titles to choose from for your iPhone, Android, Kindle, or MP3 player. Now on to the show.
Does everybody know what time it is?
Homan Podcast time!
That's right. Binford Tools is proud to present a Home Improvement Podcast. My name is Adam. You all know my co-host, Jordan.
Oscar-nominated Jordan, right?
Jordan, didn't you get a nomination for, was it sound mixing this year?
Yeah. That and my special effects.
Yeah, well, yeah.
You know, like
special...
the... Bam, 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 bam.
Yeah, you play that air horn like it's nobody's business. How
I
you
know.
doing this morning?
I'm doing...
I should say afternoon for me. And afternoon for you as well. Afternoon all around.
Is it afternoon for you? I thought you were an hour behind me.
You know, I'm looking at a clock that's actually not been adjusted since daylight savings
Time, you know what they say about time? It's all relative.
I thought it was a flat circle.
It's a little bit of column A, a little bit of column B.
It's of the essence as well. It is not past noon here. The clock is just wrong. The clock, the damn thing's only right twice a day. Broken clock.
Is that battery powered or what?
It's shocking that we weren't able to lure a big-time celebrity guest on our podcast yesterday.
Believe it or not, what we were talking about before we started was perhaps more boring than clocks.
Even worse. What'd you eat for breakfast, though? What'd you eat for breakfast? Let's
least
talk Oscars, big man. Shall we?
Yeah, let's do it. Big man.
You love movies, big man. Big man, big fella. Goes about 6'8", 240. Jordan, you probably haven't seen a lot of the Oscar-nominated films this year.
I don't know what's listed, like for, Best Supporting Actor or Best Film or whatever, but I've probably watched zero, so you'll have to fill me in. I
thought instead of... I've seen... All right, so there's...
Well, and we also fall into this thing where we talked about, maybe what would we pick for the Oscars, whatever, but by the time this goes out, the Oscars will have already happened, so... Yeah. Such as, our Black Panther review and other things.
I was like, we gotta talk about Black Panther. Culturally relevant. We've both seen it. We can do short Black Panther reviews. I really liked it. What'd you think?
I enjoyed it a lot.
Okay, perfect. All right,
getting shorter than that?
We got it. Jordan, there are 9 nominees for Best Picture. I've seen 7 of them.
Oh, boy.
I have only not seen Call Me By Your Name and Phantom Thread. Other than that, I've seen the other 9. Jordan, I'm going to name the movies and just tell me if you've seen any of them. Stop me, okay? Call Me By Your Name, Darkest Hour, Dunkirk, Get Out, Lady Bird, Phantom Thread, The Post, The Shape of Water, 3 Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri.
Is that 9? Is that what it was?
Yeah, that's all of them.
That's 0 for 9.
Okay, all right. So you weren't able to make out to the multiplex this year. Okay, so
Not for that one. No.
I thought maybe I could. I'm going to name some of the more obscure ones, and I kind of want you to just sort of guess what they're about.
Sure.
If you actually know what they're about, I want you to tell me because that won't be fun.
Okay. Right. Yeah, but I just guess exactly.
Yeah, that's not. Who's that serve? Okay, Jordan, can you tell me what you think Darkest Hour is about?
Well, I mean, it's one of those movies that kind of like goes around the country. And remember that really big solar eclipse that we had this year?
Yeah.
It just goes from town to town as people are encountering like the solar eclipse, and it talks about like the build up to it and then how it was really not that super exciting, and then nobody's impressed anymore. So it's kind of more of a documentary than anything. But what is really cool is the lighting in that movie. Mm-hmm. It's Darkest Hour, so they play with a lot of different types of lighting, sometimes dark, sometimes light. You're
positing a world where they really rushed a movie into production after that kind of disappointing eclipse we had a couple of months ago. Yeah,
and it was critically acclaimed.
and it was Oscar nominated despite not being especially good. Jordan, Darkest Hour. Here's the action, and I watched this one last night, so fresh in my mind. During the early days of World War II, the fate of Western Europe hangs on the newly appointed British Prime Minister Winston Churchill, who must decide whether to negotiate with Adolf Hitler or fight on against incredible odds. So close.
So, I mean, basically the same thing. Is that the one with Gary Oldman?
It is, and he's probably going to win. He's probably going to win lead actor. Oscar.
I'm always impressed at how they can take these actors and put on all that stuff and make them look like famous people.
It's an enjoyable enough movie. It's probably better than I thought it was going to be, but he is really, really good. And it's like the kind of thing where it's like when you see Daniel Day-Lewis as Lincoln, where you kind of think like, well, this is just Lincoln. Like it kind of feels like it's what the actual guy is because it bears no resemblance to Gary Oldman from any of his roles.
From Batman or Air Force One.
He should have been nominated for Air Force One.
I love Air Force One. That comes on TV. I'll watch that.
That's a good one. That is a good one. Get off my plane.
Either that or Con Air. I mean, could you get better in those two plane movies?
90s had a lot of really good plane hijacking movies. You don't see enough of those anymore. Probably because it's not that funny in light of major cultural events. But
probably not. Instead, we just fight aliens.
Slowly meander away from that topic. Jordan, another film maybe you could guess the topic of would be Phantom Thread.
I think I know. Well, no, I don't know this one. Does it have to do with the Phantom of the Opera at all? It has to, right?
No, I don't think so.
It's the writing of the Phantom of the Opera, and it really goes into detail about the costuming, and there's a specific thread that is woven in from the writer's hair that has semblance to the actual storyline.
Yeah, no.
Really close?
I mean, I think you hit on a couple of things that are not far off. Yeah, definitely. So it's a drama set in 1950s London. Reynolds Woodcock is a renowned dressmaker whose fastidious life is disrupted by a young, strong-willed woman, Alma, who becomes his muse and lover.
I mean, I guess maybe The Darkest Hour was a little bit closer.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a good guess.
Thread.
Last one, Jordan. Which one of them I don't really want to choose.
Which one's that?
Call Me by Your Name. I don't think you'd get that close, and I don't know that explaining it would.
I don't think I'm going to get close to any of them except for Dunkirk. So.
You familiar with The Shape of Water?
Is that where they just like get all of these like see-through objects in different shapes and sizes and just like pour water into them?
This is some of our best humor.
Is that what happens?
Yeah, it's you're very close. So at a top research facility in the 1960s, a lonely janitor forms a unique relationship with an amphibious creature that is being held in captivity.
What?
I think you might like that one. The woman has sex with a fish man. So really happens multiple times. Good movie though.
Wow.
Yeah.
I think mine might be better than that.
No, I don't underestimate. So the Oscars are Sunday. Jordan, you probably won't tune in.
It is my favorite award show, but typically I've seen at least one or two of the movies. So
it's a pretty low bar. If this is your favorite award show and you haven't watched any of the movies, then I can't imagine how you treat your least favorite.
My favorite award show, well, they don't do it anymore, but it was that one year when they did the NBA fashion show. And Russell Westbrook won.
Gosh, you're excited for when they televise picking all-star teams next year with captains.
I will enjoy that.
Yeah, that'll be great. A lot of commercial breaks.
Too many.
In the words of Dave Chappelle, we're going to take a quick commercial break.
Wow. I don't know that I did that well in guessing those movies, but I definitely did watch episode 80 of the Home Improvement podcast, Home and Podcast.
Yeah.
And the episode title, I bet you're wondering.
What is it?
It's Borland Ambition.
Okay, yeah, for sure. Keep going.
Yeah. So this episode was written by Bob Bettinson and Bruce Ferber, so it got the Ferber treatment. Bob last did Death Begins at 40, and Bruce last did Back in the Saddle Shoes Again. This episode aired October 25th, 1994. You got excited because this is right around Halloween. We thought we had a Halloween episode on our hands. We'll get into later about how it ended up turning out, but let's get into our alternative titles right now.
Let's do it. I should have put more effort into these. I had kind of a busy morning, and I think that my alternative titles kind of...
Who knew that snow in London would affect you all the way?
I know, yeah. It snows in London, and then there's there's just an effect across the globe. All right, Borland Ambition. My first one is... I have three. Jordan, don't you ever. You're going to say you have five. I'm proud of you.
I was going to say, should I go first? You don't want me reading all these back to back.
Yeah. Back.
Where's Boomer? Noisy Partner.
Okay, so this is mine. It's easy to come up with 5 when you have noisy partner as one of them. The not so silent partner.
See, I almost did that, and I changed it to noisy.
Mm-hmm.
So, you're welcome.
Yeah.
How about entrepreneur flip?
Explain that one to me.
It's kind of Al's flippin' personality here. It's so good, right?
Yeah, it's a good one.
It's so good.
Right. Little Al's big investment.
How about half-brained Halloween?
Yeah, barely even half-brained. This one really doesn't make sense. This is my last one too. Overzealous and under par.
Well, it's fine.
It's okay.
I got 2. One this is gonna be bad. Alta control instead of out. It's alta control. Sorry.
Keep going. What's your last one? We're not even going to talk about that.
Al va por la borda, which is Al goes overboard in Spanish.
Yeah, I mean, I'd say ambitious. I think that there is when you have to explain your titles, they aren't, you can't say they've been successful, but
hey, I know that you don't speak Spanish, so.
I think I've taken as much Spanish as you have in your life.
I don't know.
Did you take
any
in
talk about
college? Did you take it in college?
No, but people took it from me. Plot synopsis. When Al buys 20% of Harry's hardware, he irritates everyone by becoming obsessed with the business, trying to change store policies, promoting the store on tool time, and spending less time with Eileen. Written by Skagary66.
Yeah.
So.
You know what would have been a good title? Big Trouble in Little Al. Like Big Trouble in Little China. I'm adding that one onto my list. My fourth one, Big Trouble in Little Al. That's my last one.
I mean, if we're comparing it to what we had before, it doesn't have quite the flair, around the world flair as some of mine.
Up the yin yang. All right. Is there anything else we need to go through here?
I hope not.
All right. Are we opening?
Let's open.
Do you know, is Borland Ambition, is that playing on something?
Well, you talked about Blonde Ambition a couple times, especially on your Periscope.
Yeah, what is that, though? I looked it up now.
Well, there is a TV show, but there also is a famous Madonna tour.
Okay, so that's probably what it is.
Probably the Madonna tour.
There's a movie with Jessica Simpson, this is Oscar nominated for 2007. A young professional becomes the unwitting pawn in a plot by 2 executives to take over a company.
I saw it got 1 out of 10 stars on IMDb.
3.9 out of 10, 14% on Rotten Tomatoes.
14% on Rotten Tomatoes.
We should do a bonus episode on that.
Let's not. You love Madonna, do you not?
I would say I not. I do not. I don't
I
love
would
her.
say I not.
I not. I do not. Yeah. No, I think Madonna, in my opinion, as children of the 90s.
She's too much of a material girl for you.
Yeah, she's too superficial. No, I don't know. I feel like I kind of missed that whole thing. Like, we were too young when that was going on. So, like, when I think of Madonna, I just think of, like, that music, meet some people. Like, that's my perception of Madonna, which I'm sure is not fair or accurate.
Is she in 4 Minutes to Save the World?
Yeah.
That's better, right? My parents had a Madonna CD, so I know much more Madonna than I should.
That they have a Madonna CD.
Madonna and Michael Jackson, baby.
And a lot of Michael J. Fox VHS tapes in your basement.
And the Gloria Estefan, a surprising amount.
Your dad helped Michael J. Fox build a new bathroom onto his house or something, or add a new addition just by buying all these VHS tapes.
My dad or my mom?
Hey, you tell me. Doc Hollywood, that's all I saw.
Spin City, that was a mainstay in our house as well.
That was a good show.
I did like it.
Let's talk about another good show, and that's Home Improvement.
Jeez.
I'll open. I'll open. I'll take this one.
Open with this dastardly fight song that I hate so much.
You, how sick to your stomach were you when this episode started with the Michigan fight song?
It went on very long.
Yeah.
And maybe that's because I'm a state fan. So
yeah.
But it seemed like it went on a long time.
I know. I don't know. With all the Michigan State stuff in the news right now, I was just happy it was Michigan. I don't want to have to get into anything related to that. So the fact that he, like I said I said, I hate to recycle my Periscope bits, but I only
Hey,
have so
there's
many.
only 26 people listening to that. There's going to be many, many more listening to this.
Probably 2 or 3 times as many if we're lucky. I was just saying that. Don't you kind of think maybe Tim should pick a side in the Michigan State? I mean, I guess I get why they wouldn't do it because they don't want to alienate viewers. But if Tim were a real man, if Tim were an actual person, he would not be wearing Michigan and Michigan State. He'd kind of pick a side, don't you think?
Well, my mom kind of just plays both sides of the fence as well. But, as far as I'm concerned, based on this episode, he has picked a side.
Okay. We'll have to watch. We'll have to see if he is going to wear any Michigan State stuff. So you think he kind of drew a line in the sand in this episode?
I mean, if you've got the pennant, you're waving it in people's faces. Yeah. You got the fight song blaring. You're wearing the sweater. Yeah, I don't know.
He kind of dropped trow and said, "This is what I bring to the party."
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yep, he dropped trow. All right.
All right. So Michigan fight song plays, and he's in the Tool Time studio audience. He's got a pennant. He's being kind of obnoxious, and I kind of like the woman in front of him because, you can tell she is just a part. She's just a studio audience goer, and she doesn't really know how to react. And I appreciated that kind of authenticity.
Yeah, and she laughs. She's I guess giggling and nervous. The guy next to her was not impressed really. He does his best not to laugh.
I feel like that would, if you were there, that'd play really well. I feel like a lot of Tim Allen humor probably plays better in person than on TV. So I'm surprised that guy was so nonplussed. It's like, if you're going to watch the recording of an episode of Home Improvement, I feel like that's kind of what you're looking for.
You're a self-selected audience at that point. But, he wasn't interested. But maybe he was just contemplating autumn and the fact that the leaves are changing and the weather's changing. Do you think?
You're right. And there's some banter between Tim and Al about, Tim makes fun of Al, and Al says he gets a lot more fan mail.
10 times.
So,
much.
Is that 10 times, is that 10 letters in comparison to 1 throughout a whole year? Because there's no way they're getting a lot.
The sample size might be small, but there was an episode earlier where there was a whole. Didn't Lisa bring out a wheelbarrow or something?
I don't know what was more unrealistic, the fan mail aspect in that episode, or when they shrunk themselves down a few episodes ago. It's very, very much grounded in not any kind of reality. It's autumn, Jordan. They're mulching. I know what mulching is, so I was kind of excited about that. I was like, okay, I can. What they're doing here, this makes sense to me.
You're getting on board.
Tim mulches some things. He eventually mulches Al's paycheck, which I don't know if this is worth even discussing, but I find myself wondering, how much is that paycheck? How much are these guys making? Because they're later on in the episode, they have the opportunity to make a $15,000 investment. I just am surprised that either one of these guys has $15K stowed away for something like this, and apparently Tim doesn't. But I'm surprised Al.
Yeah, Tim doesn't. Al, we learn, is very shrewd with his money and hides it under his mattress.
We'll
get to that later.
I don't want to spoil anything. So
you don't want to spoil this 14-year-old episode.
I don't. I hate. Yeah, I would. That would be a shame for everybody. They're mulching. It's Halloween. Al is kind of concerned the whole scene that Tim's going to try to scare him.
He's on guard.
End of the scene. A decapitated Halloween-esque head pops out and scares Al. It's scary. I mean, the head itself is scary. I would be scared by this.
I let down my guard because this opening went kind of a little long, and Tim, I should have known better because Tim was kind of acting competent with the mulching and stuff.
Yeah,
I should have known that something was up.
Yeah. So you're saying you got a little spooked?
I was spooked. Actually, I'm more spooked by later in this episode. They bring back that same transition of that really creepy masked guy from season 2.
Oh man, that guy's scary.
Oh my gosh, that was terrifying. But that's probably the scariest thing that happens in this episode.
I don't know. A lot of Benny jokes are kind of scary in this episode. Benny's getting a lot of screen time here. You want to take the next scene?
Yeah, we're gonna move to Benny at Harry's Hardware. Harry's back at it, so we see that he's recovering well. In fact, the doctor told him to surround himself with his loved ones, so he left his wife and came down to the hardware store. The whole gang is there, plus Al. I don't think he was here last time. I guess Felix isn't there, so not the whole gang. I don't know who's the whole gang really at this point, but
you're trying to make a gang thing kind of happen here, squad's getting together. But,
the gang's getting back together.
Yeah.
There's a plan. I know that you like plans, so don't act like you don't want that either.
Yeah.
We do learn that Benny was fired from his job. I don't know what that was. Did they say what he did?
I mean, I'm assuming
He eats so much donuts, he might as well have been a cop.
Yeah, he eats so much donuts. Yeah, I don't know what he did. I don't want to say anything to offend people, so I would assume it wasn't a great job.
You're really toning it down this episode.
I'm so PC that it's just like I don't know, 2018.
The PC claw police have really gotten to you.
And Jill is their commissar. Remember that IMDb?
I do.
We read a million
The feminist
years ago?
movement got their claws into the show or whatever.
Somebody accused Home Improvement of being a feminist, which is
laughable.
New for me.
A nuanced point of view? Is that what we're going to call it?
I love perspective. I love it.
That's right. So Harry, he got Tim to come down with the opportunity of a lifetime to be a part owner, a silent partner in the business. Apparently Harry's brother Larry is selling his share.
Is that a joke? Like, is that... I didn't hear anybody laugh, but, Harry and Larry, I think they're trying for something there.
It's at least unfortunate.
At the very least, it's too bad. Yeah.
So Al pipes up. This has always been a dream of his to own part of a hardware store, I guess. Yeah. And with that, we've got kind of a bidding war going on. Will it be Tim? Will it be Al?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, yeah, I do.
The episode title certainly doesn't tell you.
That's true. Yeah. Yeah. I was one of my notes in this scene was there's a lot of really bad dude jokes in this scene, like a lot of I don't know. Okay, so for instance, the scene opens with I don't know. Okay, what am I trying to say here? I've really lost myself in my notes. Okay, so Tim makes a joke that Al hides all his money under a mattress or something, and everybody laughs. They're laughing their off, and it's just not that funny. And there's just a lot of dumb try to stay away from your wife. I felt like this. It's not my kind of humor, certainly. It's also just their amount of laughter in comparison to the jokes being made just doesn't really sync up for me. And also I resented the Benny with the mouthful, how come you didn't ask me? Because you could really understand what he was saying the first time around.
Yeah, I think you took this scene more seriously than I did, I guess.
I mean, I really was, yeah. I only have 3 notes, but I left this scene with a bad taste in my mouth. I just I don't know, just lame jokes.
What was in those donuts?
I mean, Benny. The camera cuts to Benny a lot in this episode, and
they really try to use him as this comedic relief.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just it would be better if you didn't always know exactly what he was going to say before he said it.
Yeah, later on when he does the 50 cent.
Yeah, come on. I don't know. This is such a Ferber joint, We got
the Ferber treatment. That's for sure.
This has Ferber written all over it. But in any case, next scene, I'll take it. R&B. That's kind of my new Randy and Brad nickname. R&B.
I love R&B
because it's smooth. They come downstairs and they're trying to scare their mom, and they have some spooky looking makeup. I don't know. How would you describe it?
It's they're supposed to be
other than spooky,
half brain zombie makeup, I guess.
Yeah, it's okay. They try to scare their mom. She's not scared. She makes some jokes about how they aren't that scary, or she's used to it. Yeah. She's used to how scary they are. Mark comes down and he's dressed as Al, and it's a good Al costume, fake beard, flannel, hair kind of combed to a part. It's it's what happens when stardom occurs, or when stardom happens. So,
his beard does not match his hair color, so that's surprising.
Must have really,
that irked me.
Yeah, the logic in this episode, that was when I kind of just lost interest.
Faulty logic. There's going to be a contest, which is why everyone's getting all dressed up.
This contest is a real afterthought in the episode.
I wish this contest was actually on screen.
I wish this was the A plot, yeah, for sure. Tim enters and he's brought Jill some candy from Windsor, which
you know what? At first, my eyebrows were raised, but then I looked up how far it was from Royal Oak to Windsor. You got a guess?
Okay, I would guess. Are you talking miles or minutes?
Minutes.
30 minutes, I'll guess.
Yeah, it was as of this morning, a Friday morning.
Friday rolling,
early March, in a line, out like a lamb type of day. And it was about 24 minutes, so
right.
not too far.
He probably works in the city, so I guess it's not a stretch. Yeah, but when he said he went to Windsor, I was like,
Whoa.
Yeah, that's far. Wow.
Well,
Canada.
now you got to have your passport or an enhanced license or something. Back then,
Yeah.
they're just letting people go everywhere.
Yeah, I that was a logic issue as well. It's like he didn't even mention, having to have his passport. But yeah, okay, so he goes to Windsor. Jill is suspicious of this candy. It's like pumpkin candy.
It doesn't sound very good to me, but it's Jill's favorite, I think.
You can only get the special Halloween candy in Canada. You can't get it. You can't get it here. You got to go to Windsor.
Those Canadians, they really know their Halloween candy.
Right. Yeah. When I think of Windsor, I think of like 19-year-olds going there to drink and go to strip clubs before. That's what Windsor.
When you say 19-year-olds, you say when you were 19?
I did not. I never did.
Have you ever been? I've never been to Canada, actually.
I thought you were going to ask me something else. I've been to Canada. You never been to Canada?
No, it seems like a crime, doesn't it? I grew up in Michigan.
Hey, man, I'm not. Hey, don't try to ask me if you should go to Canada or anything. I'm not trying to offend anybody. This is our politically correct episode. I'm taking in a lot of. We got a lot of new listeners on board. There's a lot of
places in Canada that I want to go to, though.
Such as, like what, Toronto?
Vancouver, I've heard, is beautiful, right on the coast there.
You probably want to go to that Montreal Just for Laughs festival. Let's listen to Blake Griffin do some comedy.
The Piston, Blake Griffin, of course.
Yeah, it's funny. The funniest thing about Blake Griffin has just been, his shooting percentage the last week or so. It's been really funny.
He's not coming on the podcast, sounds like.
I could try, I don't know. We could ask him. Okay, so Canada, yeah, you should go, Jordan. You should. It's fine. You might enjoy it.
I was really irked when I didn't get to go to Canusa for basketball.
Yeah, that is a thing. I bet I've been to Canada. I don't want to make you feel bad or like less of a man. I've been to Canada between 5 and 10 times in my life.
You're attacking my manhood today.
Sorry about that.
I've been to Costa Rica, but not Canada.
Yeah, well, whatever. Okay, so Al kind of strangely arrives at the house for no real reason, and it doesn't. I don't know that. I guess it services the plot. Al arrives. They're on their way to. It's Sunday, which is weird. I don't know. It felt like a weekday, and they're on their way to get some food. And they exchange meals, and there's kind of a joke made at Al's expense by Tim. And Al, instead of calling Tim to get an answer about the investment, he says, hey, let me know if you're going to invest in Harry's because I'm very, very interested. I used to own a business when I was young. It was called Little Al's Lemonade Stand. And then there's a tagline I didn't write down. I hope you did.
I did not. I was mostly staring at
lemonade puns, and you could probably you
get the idea. I was
or something.
Watching Eileen's reactions. She's very impressed about this lemonade stand.
Yeah,
very
what did she say?
impressed.
She said, "You've always been so clever."
Yeah, and that was because of the great tagline. I guess we didn't mention this before, but there is like a brief argument back and forth about buying the hardware store.
It's very brief.
Very brief, and basically Jill says, "Sell the hot rod and you can buy the store." So that's what it comes down to. She didn't say the hot rod
was supposed to be an investment. It's like, man, if you believe that, Tim really pulled the wool over your eyes.
She's being conciliatory here.
Yeah, I suppose so. Hey, man, that's all I got for that scene.
Yeah, I did find it really weird that he would come over and just posit this question.
It doesn't make any sense. Just if you could have been a phone call. I don't, and it doesn't.
Seems weird to put him on the spot with all these people in the room.
Yeah, and they're not building toward the plot would have been the same. They wouldn't have even needed to show this scene. We could have just gone into the hardware in the next scene and.
I want them both to buy it and be able to buy it, and then they have to settle it with an arm wrestling match.
I was positing why can't they go 7.5 or 7.5?
If you're gonna make an investment and you really want to make money, you gotta at least get in at $15,000.
So,
I mean, don't be a novice.
Yeah, you did study business, so I will take your word for it.
Come to me for tax advice and investing advice.
Yeah.
No.
Let's go to Harry's hardware store.
Yeah, let's go to the place of the hour.
Al's really wearing the heck out of this leather jacket. Did you
I didn't even notice that.
Oh man, he's wearing this 2 or 3 scenes. It's kind of almost Detroit Lions colors. It's leather. It's gray, but it has blue sleeves.
It almost looks like a varsity jacket.
Yeah, it does. It's really cool. I think he bought it. I think Richard Karn bought it and was like, "Hey guys,
I'm wearing it on set.
Hey guys, let's." If we could figure out a way to get this jacket into a couple scenes, I'd be pretty happy.
I'll write that down for the next thing we can ask him.
Yeah, if we ever get him back, I'm gonna ask him about that jacket. See if he remembers it. See if he has it.
Yeah, you could auction it off maybe.
Yeah, definitely.
So yeah, Al made the jump at this point. He is now a part owner of Harry's Hardware. Al kind of says he's going to be hands off because, I mean, he's supposed to be as a silent partner, really.
Yeah.
Pretty much he's just supposed to put up his capital. But the first order of business for him is to get those freeloaders out of here by putting up a no free coffee sign and taking away the donuts from Benny. Yeah. So Harry tries to get him to lighten up, but he didn't make a killing at the lemonade store by just giving things away,
Yeah, we also learned that he got 20% for $15,000. So by my math, that means that Harry's Hardware is only valued at $75,000. That strikes me as very low.
I do not know. I don't know whether that's good or bad.
It's
a small store, I'll tell you that.
I only can base it on what I know from Shark Tank, and I've seen businesses that are barely established, value themselves at $300,000, $400,000, $500,000. So either Harry is very, very realistic, or he got a bad number. Because I don't know, $75,000. Like, I would think inventory would be valued at close to that.
I mean, what's the inflation numbers like?
Oh, good question.
They're not that dramatic.
You keep talking, and I'll find out.
No, I already got it. You keep talking. You always make me talk.
Yeah, I'll keep talking. All right. So, do you have the number?
I do. It is roughly $25,000. So that really changes things, doesn't it?
What is $25,000?
He invested what, $15,000? Is that what he said?
Oh, I see. Okay, I see what you did. Yeah, okay, so $10,000 more. So now it's 25. Yeah, okay, that makes sense. Yeah, not a huge difference.
Yeah, I don't know.
What is this? What is this? Stagflation?
You know what we're gonna have to do? We're gonna have to go around to our local hardware stores, ask them what they're worth, and report back.
Do you have a hardware store you kind of go to, and you got your buddies there, and you just kind of hang out and talk about your wives and stuff? They know you by name.
Yeah, it's called
True Value.
I was gonna say Walmart.
Ace Hardware. Yeah.
Yeah, they don't even have an Ace Hardware here yet, but there is a sign for coming soon, so that's where I'm hoping to go chat.
Yeah, that'll be cool. All right, so Al is trying to charge for coffee. Al basically, he has no chill. He says that he's going to take it easy, and then the rest of the episode does the exact opposite. So he wants to charge for coffee. Harry is prepared to sell Tim something at cost in exchange for, quote, a couple of tickets to Tool Time. That's a bad deal. You know what, Harry? Maybe you do need Al's advice if you're exchanging Tool Time tickets for as a part of a transaction. That just strikes me.
To be fair, he still doesn't lose any money on the deal.
It's true, but he's only, I don't know, just...
Tim's the best customer.
Yeah, well, Tim spends more in a month than most people do in a year.
So you get Tim. Yeah, you get the reason that he does that. And plus he's going to get aisle seats.
I mean, I just didn't know these Tool Time tickets were in such high demand.
They are. Al steps up, and he has a problem with this. And they have a meeting of the minds, kind of right out in the open.
It's the classic step into my office, but it's not actually an office joke that I feel like my childhood was kind of flooded with. Like a lot of step into my office, and then it's like a bathroom or something.
What are you watching? A lot of things where that happened.
I'm just telling you what I remember.
We didn't watch those things together. Did you do that a lot in the Legendary Ninja videos?
No comment on that. But I don't know. I feel like Boy Meets World or whatever, there would be like a scene in a lot of those shows where it's like someone is like step into my office and then they're like, I don't know, buy a urinal or something.
When that joke bats 1,000, you just keep pitching
I'm gonna
it, man.
add that to my pilot that I'm writing.
Yeah, I forgot. That was the one thing that was missing in my feedback. Did you check out the camera angle on this sweet meeting of the minds here?
No, what was it?
Man, you've really fallen apart in your camera.
Yeah, I've been out of grad school for a while. I just don't think about film that way anymore.
It's probably not that cool, but I actually just noticed it, so I wrote it down. They have like a close-up of, this conversation with Al and Harry, and then in the middle, in the distance, is Tim, and you can kind of see his reactions to everything.
Yeah. I know what you're talking about.
So he's kind of in the middle, like, reacting with a funny face to everything that's going on. But, how does that
meeting kind of abruptly ends?
Well, basically Harry says like, I own 80% of this, so shut your mouth.
Yeah, then we cut to tool time, and they are hanging a picture on a hollow wall, and it's a picture of a lemon. Tim's really trying to make this lemon joke kind of like a reoccurring theme throughout the episode.
It's like when I try to bring up our inside jokes on air, and they
and I just say we're not doing that. Yeah, it's about as effective, I would say. Al has taken to Here's one of my problems with this show is like every so often they'll just have Al like do things completely out of character for him to service a plot, and this is one of those episodes. So Al, who is usually takes his job so seriously and so professional, all of a sudden is very comfortable like ripping his flannel open and just doing like shameless Harry's Hardware plugs.
This is exactly what he did in the episode where he ripped open his shirt to be a man.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Yeah, in more ways than one. It's exactly like what he was doing. And he does that throughout he does it another time again. We find out Harry is in Royal Oak, which I guess, I don't know if have we heard Royal Oak before? Probably.
Have I heard of the town? Yeah.
I mean, yes, we're familiar with it as people, but on the show.
No, I guess I haven't heard that before. I thought we've heard of other places, though.
Yeah, probably. There's a Mona Lisa with Al's face. They kind of like end the scene by bickering in front of the audience because Tim doesn't like that Al is.
Tim's they really have kind of flipped roles here where Tim is like, you can't do that, we're going to lose our jobs, this is a Binford show. So he's being professional and smart here, and Al kind of equates his brazen ad to Tim hijacking the show for his like little jokes and stuff. A little bit different, but Tim's disgusted, I'm disgusted, you're disgusted, I can tell.
Yeah, I'm disgusted with this episode, and I think we should, continue to work our way through it with a little bit more speed. So I'll take the next scene. We're back home. Randy and Brad are zombies. This is my least favorite joke of the episode, where Jill is like adjusting Randy's, is it a wart, mole, something? You know what I'm talking about?
I thought it was brains.
Brains, whatever. And Randy's like, Mom, all the kids are wearing it like this.
Oh boy, I didn't even remember that.
It's terrible. So it's awful.
So this episode was bad enough that I just blocked out parts of it.
Yeah, and that's a key line in the ep. Mark comes down again. Mark is just making some grand entrances in this episode. He's not slow spinning, but he's doing a lot of walking downstairs and kind of like
taking 2 steps. Yeah.
Look at me.
Jazz hands.
Yeah. He rips open his shirt as well, and because Al gave him a Harry's Hardware to kind of complete the costume, which is kind of funny.
Where's he getting those things printed so quickly?
Yeah. Where are Al and Mark kind of meeting? And Al is giving Mark T-shirts without his parents finding out. bodes poorly.
Perhaps the more important question.
Yeah. Yep. Jill. Everybody leaves.
Jill's excited.
Jill excited is one way to say it. Hey, they haven't had a Halloween without the kids in a long time, so they're gonna get naked and see if it's scary or something. I don't know.
I mean, for our sakes, I was hoping they would actually do something for Halloween, but
no, they're just gonna instead of doing a cool Halloween episode, they're just gonna maybe have sex. Eileen arrives and she's dressed as a golfer, but Al blew her off. They were gonna go to the putt-putt panorama. But he wants to work, so he chose to work.
What kind of Halloween party are they having at the putt-putt panorama?
Actually, sounds like an okay time to me.
Yeah. Well, a lot of times around Halloween it's snowing, so you gotta be careful.
Yeah, well, hey, far be it from me to poke holes in this episode of Home Improvement. I don't know. She's sad. Al, he just doesn't give her the time of day. She's kind of frustrated with him. Tim needs to kind of go and take care of the mess.
Al's a real potty mouth.
Oh yeah, what's he say?
SOG, son of a gun. So we moved to the hardware store.
I think it's clip time.
It is clip time.
There's a scary skeleton
who looks a lot like Wilson
in the hardware store. Who looks a lot like Wilson because it is Wilson. Let's play a clip.
I think you'll be very happy with the long light halogen. What are you going to be using it for, Wilson?
Well, Al, a few of my friends are celebrating the Mexican Halloween, Dia de los Muertos.
Day of the Dead?
Very good, Al.
At Harry's Hardware, se habla español.
Well, in that case, ¿cómo van las cosas con su nuevo negocio?
Se habla español not so goodo.
I was just asking how you're enjoying being a new businessman.
Whoa, muy bien. And this is just the beginning. Once I learn the ropes, I'm going to break free from Harry's and open my own chain of hardware stores. In fact, I stayed up all night thinking up a name for it. What do you think of this? Al's Hardware.
That's very evocative.
Well, if all goes according to plan, I'll double my money in 5 years.
Well, that's an admirable goal, Al, but I might remind you that the American humorist Ken Hubbard said, to safely double your money, fold it over once and put it in your pocket.
Well, speaking of double, Wilson, it's double value days here at Harry's. You buy another flashlight, I'll throw in the batteries for free.
I don't think so, Al.
All right, well then that's $39.95 with tax.
There you go.
Thank you, and there you go.
All right, and good luck, Al.
Well, speaking of luck, next week is Lucky Dollar Day right here at Harry's.
So Wilson is dressed up like a skeleton here. He's got his face painted so he doesn't need to be hiding behind a fence or an aisle.
I kind of liked it.
Yeah, he got to go out and see the world. It's nice. He only gets to do this like twice a year. I don't know what the...
Christmas. He went to that church.
Okay. I was thinking Mardi Gras maybe. He puts on a mask.
That would work, yeah.
But Al is selling him a halogen light. There's some more of these jokes where like Al speaks Spanish, but not that great of Spanish, because Wilson is fluent, as he is in many things. And he tells a little bit more about. Al tells Wilson a little bit about his dream of opening a chain of hardware stores. He kind of sees this as a way to, be risky and double his money, be an entrepreneur, all that kind of stuff. Wilson's advice here, I guess this means we need to break out the Wilsometers, because Wilson's advice needs a little bit of reading and a little bit of interpretation. So, do you have yours handy?
There's a lot of stuff on my desk, and I gotta move a lot of papers here, but let me...
Again, I don't know why we can't get celebrities on this show.
That's my thermometer case. Yeah, I got it. Good to go.
All right, cool. We can do our readings. I guess I'll go first here.
Yeah.
So my Wilsometer reading, as cold as it is in London, I guess, because it's snowing, right?
Mm-hmm, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's about 30, around 30.
Okay.
Wilson says, Al says his goal is to double his money. Wilson says to make money, just be careful and fold it in half. That's how you can double your money. So. It's okay advice by saying just be careful with what you do with your money, but it's really veiled and vague, and Al doesn't get it obviously. So Wilson needed to be a little bit more explicit here.
Here's my take.
Here's your take.
Thermometer reading 80.
I think I might know what your take is going to be, but go ahead.
I mean, I'm working my way through it as I'm talking, so I might be surprised. All right, so hear me out. Wilson, it's Halloween. He's dressed up. He's obviously going to a party. He doesn't have time to get into Al's insecurities, or what we'll learn to be later are some sort of an issue with his father and not taking enough risk.
It always comes down to the father. It's just like Black Panther.
It's all exactly right. This episode of Home Improvement is a lot like Black Panther in a lot of ways, casting included. Mm-hmm. So Wilson, he's heading to a party. He's dressed up. He doesn't really have time for Al's BS. So he gives a kind of a clever little thing about how you want to double your money, or there's no sure investment, and he makes kind of a joke and he gets out of there. I give it an 80 because I like the advice. It's simple. It didn't drag on too long, and I want Wilson to have fun.
All right. I mean, that's fine. I thought you were going to say maybe Wilson knew that Al was a lost cause, so he just kind of said something flippantly and then just got out of there.
I think that as well. That was another thing I was thinking.
All right. Well, put your Wilsometers away because we're about to bring out the Timometers. So Wilson leaves, and Tim comes in, says something. He says, "Nice bag of bones," and he doesn't recognize that it's Wilson until
how does
Wilson...
that work? How are we supposed to buy that?
I mean, it was a great costume.
Yeah, I guess.
Do you think Wilson's going to win? We'll find out later.
I know the answer. Unfortunately, he does not. But
Hey, spoiler alert.
Sorry.
So Tim comes in at Eileen and Jill's bequest here and is trying to save Al's relationship. Al says he has new responsibilities, and he's thinking about opening up the hardware for the after hours crowd. All those people who want to hang out at the hardware store after, I don't know, 9 o'clock, whatever it would be. He's taking a new risk, and he wants to succeed. He doesn't want to be like his father. Like you said, we've got classic daddy probs here.
Yes.
That's exactly what you said.
Classic. I believe that's a direct quote. The episode should have been called Classic Daddy Probs.
Yep. So
with a Z.
His dad worked at the same factory for 40 years, didn't take any new jobs. What a monster. What a terrible person.
Yeah, seriously.
Providing for his family for 40 years.
Right.
And Tim put some perspective on the situation. It says, you take risks every day. You work with me. That joke seems to come up every 4 episodes, I think.
Yeah, whenever they need it, it's there.
And it's here again. Tim says, go on your date. Save your relationship. I'll even lock up for you. But Al is reticent to let Tim be in the store after hours by himself. On the way out, turn off the lights, and Tim breaks something, so he broke it, he bought it.
Mm-hmm. True. Truer words have never been spoken. Final scene here. We're home. Brad and Randy, smooth R&B, they're peeved because Mark won the contest. But it's not Mark's fault that Al's mom was a judge.
Oh, man. I thought we were going to go a whole episode without an Al's mom joke. But
and then the episode comes to one final whimper. Tim comes home, and somehow he managed to steal a key to the hardware store from Al.
With no repercussions.
Roll credits, fade to black, Borland Ambition. Happy Halloween, mofos.
And that's when Ferber came on and dropped the mic and said, I hate you.
Took a dump on the stage and said, you want a Halloween episode? Well, I'll give you an uninteresting romp about daddy issues and poor investments.
And boy, did he. Highs and lows, Adam. Break into yours.
I mean, I was supremely disappointed with this episode.
Yeah.
I mean, I like I said, I don't know if I said this before we were recording or after. Everything just blurs together. Halloween episodes, no, I'm not trying to pull the wool over anybody's eyes here. A lot of the episodes of Home Improvement, we don't particularly enjoy and aren't especially good. Some of them are, but I expect Halloween and Christmas episodes to be of a certain caliber. There are a couple things I want. I want a costume contest that I actually see. I want there to be, some kind of a weird, mysterious subplot. I want there to be, cool costumes and gags. This episode offered none of those things.
Except for that creepy cutaway.
I want, a fake ghost. Yeah, I don't know. But, this did not deliver. This was by far the worst Halloween episode. The Halloween episode last year was one of my favorite episodes we've ever covered. This one, it was just such an afterthought. This didn't need any of the Halloween stuff at all.
Yeah, it's terrible.
Yeah, in terms of, like I said earlier, sometimes they just use the Al character they just have him act completely against rationale or how he normally acts in 95% of the episodes to service a specific plot. This is an example of that. The jokes in this were really, really, really bad. Highs. I liked the Wilson scene. Good to see him out of the store in a costume. But yeah, this one was a real letdown for me. I did not enjoy it.
Yeah. This doesn't deserve to be called a Halloween episode, really.
Right, yeah.
So I'm just going to treat it as not that. But yeah, the only really good thing that you said besides the Wilson scene and seeing Wilson out was maybe Mark's outfit as Al. But even Al, the crazy Al, corrupted that piece of the episode by, sinking his hardware store into it. So I don't know. It wasn't exciting. It wasn't funny. It wasn't scary or intriguing in really any way. So I'm not going to labor on any extra points that you already said. So let's just move on to Sean's social media corner.
Let's do it.
All right, so if you want to reach out to us, you can do so at thehomeandpodcast.com. We're on Facebook at facebook.com/homeandpodcast. We're on Twitter at homeandpodcast. You can support the show by reviewing us on Apple Podcasts. or you can support the show for as little as $1 a month. We've reached our goals that we've had in the past, so I guess maybe we need to put some new goals up there because you guys seem to be people who like to complete goals. I think that's why we haven't been getting any donations lately. So
it's like the Ringer podcast, achievement oriented. The cool video game podcast they have.
That's our next venture. If you want to, you can support us for as little as $1 a month at patreon.com/homeandpodcast. And with that, Adam, what a whirlwind it's been.
It was one of our. It was just a banner Twitter day, I gotta say. So yesterday I took the day off work, and I.
You really cooked up some plans.
I just had some spare time, and I thought, all right, well, I'll shot in the dark. So Paul F. Tompkins, who is he's a comedian and a podcast personality. Dare I say, podcast royalty. I mean, he does a lot of podcasts. He does some kind of obscure podcasts. So I was just kind of hanging out, and I sent this kind of innocuous tweet. Paul F. Tompkins never says no to a podcast appearance, and I intend to put that to the test. What do you say, PFT? Let's talk home improvement. I send that tweet.
Thinking nothing of it.
My day goes on as follows. I went to the gym. I graded some papers. I washed some dishes, and then Jordan. I straight up broke the internet, No.
Just like Wreck-It Ralph too.
Yeah, basically he responded by saying no, and then the tweet, a lot of responses.
The word that launched 1,000 tweets.
2.1 thousand likes, 51 retweets, and a lot of different varying responses. It could have been worse, I would say. Some people were making fun of us, certainly. I read things such as why would he want to come on a show about a coked out misogynist? Hey, that's your opinion, man. I don't know. I didn't have an answer. But I'll just read what Paul F. Tompkins said. He said in response to comedian Melanie Bracewell. She said, "Oh my God." She has a lot of Vine loops. I guess that puts her in a superiority comparison to us. He said, "What choice did I have, Mel?" She said, "I'm just trying to hear you on Home and Podcast." And he said, "Save your strength." So then I fire back with a very sincere, and I remain sincere, "I appreciate you considering. Thanks, Paul." 2 hours later, he's asking, "What is the deal with your show?" To which I responded. And then I think the last thing he said was, "Is the watching of an episode of Home Improvement a deal breaker?" I said, "No way."
So if he ever comes on the show, I want to know what wore him down in those 2 hours.
I don't know. I think sympathy. A lot of people rallied around. One guy said, "If it was your last dying wish, I'd want to hear you on this podcast." Some people said, "Good choice. Why would you want to be on that pod?" I don't know. I think people maybe thought that I did it as a joke. I wasn't expecting him to say yes. I just sent it as a joke. I didn't expect him to respond. I'm glad he did. We got a lot of additional downloads. We got 12 new followers, and I think it was ultimately good for us. And people, for Twitter, I'd say people were fairly kind and kind of rooting for us, and that was nice. And to the people that weren't, hey, that's all right. We are... we didn't write Home Improvement. We don't necessarily even love the show a lot of the time, but it was.
But we talk about it.
We talk about it once a week, and we have a good time doing it. So yeah, maybe it would be great if Paul would come on the show, even just to talk briefly about why he didn't want to watch an episode of Home Improvement or his memories of '90s television or anything like that. We'd be very, very happy to have Paul on the show. I am sincerely a big fan of his, and I do appreciate the conversation, and I appreciate the conversation as a whole, good and bad. So
just an entertaining way to spend your day off, I guess.
Yeah, it was exciting.
I said this before the podcast started, but we're kind of like the LeVar Ball of podcasting. So we're just trying to rile things up, get some attention. There's no bad press type of thing.
I guess that is the definition of there's no bad press, because a lot of laughs were being had at our expense. I think. Thinking that we were just
a majority for sure.
Yeah, I think people were just
which is fine.
Some older. I feel like people envision maybe older kind of people just kind of sincerely asking, and I wasn't necessarily sincere as I asked, but I sincerely wanted him to come on the show once he responded back. So, yeah, hey, take your pot shots, but hey, we get like $21 a month from Patreon subscribers, so I think we're having the last laugh, okay? We're the #1 home improvement podcast per our Twitter feed, so yeah, we'll just go ahead and laugh all the way to the bank. Thank you very much.
So does that mean you're not going to do IMDb credits for
Paul F. Tompkins? Sure, yeah, Paul F. Tompkins.
We're going to pretend that he was in the episode or on the show.
I'll give some more information. Like I said, a lot of podcast appearances, Spontaneation, Paul F. Tomcast. He does a lot of episodes of Comedy Bang Bang. A lot of podcasts through the Earwolf Network. In terms of acting, I would say right now there's a lot of things he's known for. He does the voice of Mr. Peanut Butter on BoJack Horseman. It's a pretty popular one. Bob's Burgers, he does a voice. A lot of voice work in terms of televised things. Brooklyn Nine-Nine, Aqua Teen Hunger Force. He was in the film. Give me a second as it loads. Give me more than 1 second as it loads.
We did break the internet.
Tenacious D in The Pick of Destiny. There Will Be Blood. I know he had a scene in Magnolia that I believe was cut. But yeah, he's a recognizable guy. I remember him growing up from being on that show, The Best Week Ever, which is not great television, but he has since, gone on to bigger and better things. And yeah, he's a big time celebrity. And I guess how he kind of cut his teeth, broke into the industry is the sketch show. Mr. Show with Bob and David, which is on HBO, which is very, very funny. I had the pleasure of seeing him live in Chicago with the Comedy Bang Bang tour about a year ago, and yeah, I'm a big fan, and I hope he'll come on. I'm not looking for it to happen, but can a guy dream, Jordan?
You can, and in keeping with my brand, I didn't know who this guy was. I looked at his Twitter and he looks recognizable, but I could not pick him out of like what he was in. So that's kind of the way I roll. You know?
I mean, odds are you're never going to have to talk to him, and it's not going to be a thing. So the tweets are they're still gaining traction, and
so who are you going to tweet at next week?
Obama, I guess. I mean, that's where else is there to go? I don't know what's to go up. It's funny. It is kind of hilarious that we can't get any action from like Zachary Ty Bryan or Patricia Richardson, but this guy, Paul F. Tompkins, a little bit, maybe a little bit more relevant right now.
Do you think we can get Bill Simmons?
No.
Let's try it.
No way.
Let's tweet at Bill Simmons. Either that or Zach Lowe.
Before long, it becomes shtick, and this was just I don't want to do this all the time.
So this is why we need our audience members to start tweeting at people for us.
Yeah,
be our surrogates.
People were kind enough to tweet to Richard Karn and ask him for us to get Tim Allen because we are cowards. Other things to talk about on Twitter.
We are cowards.
Because I'm awkward. We did have a poll. I mean, after all the stuff we just went through, it seems
paltry to talk about this awesome poll.
But I gotta find it. I retweeted a lot of stuff yesterday. So
man,
my
did your poll blow up?
No, my what's it called? Periscope got 103 viewers.
What?
Yeah,
it was 26 the other day. So
must have been from yesterday. Yeah,
like we said, no news is bad news.
Right, exactly. Jeez, find it here. It's on. Okay, here we go. Poll, 17 votes. Do you enjoy Tim's brother Marty? 0% said middle of the road. That would have been probably the best answer. 12% said new phone, who dis? 35% said no, and 53% said yes. That is shocking. My next poll, I already know it's good. My next poll is going to be, is Marty funny? No, is Benny funny?
Oh.
That's going to be, I don't know, man. It's going to be depressing.
I mean, I don't know. I'm not sure. All I know is that manatees are so hot right now. That's all I can tell you.
I saw that commercial that you got that
stupid picture from the Geico one.
Yeah, I saw that this morning. Really cool.
It's everywhere. Yeah, I don't know why.
It's gonna be awesome. It's awesome. Well, Twitter. Follow us.
You also had a tweet this morning, but this was on your personal one. But I do like when you use our podcast to amplify your.
Hey man, if I only have 83 followers, so I got to use our 363 follower forum to. Yeah, it's about Mark Cuban. Just if are you yay or nay for Mark Cuban?
He's in some hot water right now. Generally, I like him as a GM, a team owner, whatever. I think he tries to do some stuff. I don't really know what's going on with this team, so it'll be interesting to find out more there. But
all right, well, that's not much of an answer, but we'll take it.
I mean, what do you want me to say?
Yes or no?
I like him as a basketball owner.
Okay, fine.
That's all I can say.
Okay, fine, great. I tell you, maybe I'm not the only one worried about being PC. Sheesh. Oh, brother. All right.
I don't know him as a person, so.
Do you watch Shark Tank?
I do not.
All right, well then, that explains why. Because I watched that show and I kind of feel like I do know him as a person.
Oh, do you like him?
I said yeah.
You said yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
bro.
an answer. That's how you answer. Rounding out the episode with a question. I believe it's your turn.
Nope, it's your turn.
Doggone it.
I asked that really great and one question last week.
Jordan, in about 2 weeks, I will be pulling into your driveway at your
Joke's
house?
on you. Joke's on you. The driveway is full. You can't pull in.
Okay, well, why don't you clear out some cars for me? I'm a guest. Get out some fresh linens and make sure you have the bed
Hey,
made
the
up
bed's
for
already
me.
made, actually.
Fantastic. Jordan, question of the week this week. What do you have planned for me my girlfriend and I, when we arrive in Florida? What are you going to show us? Where are you going to take us? What's the plan?
For years now, you've asked me, like, what is St. Cloud like? And you've wanted to see all of the local hotspots. So, I was going to do that, but, we'll see how that goes. I don't know. There's lots of options. There's a couple of really good restaurants I want to take you to if you guys are around.
Yeah.
Obviously, lots of good outdoor stuff around here, so we can do that. And, you talked about earlier how you wanted to go to strip clubs, right? Is that what you said?
Say that?
I thought that's what you said.
No, Jordan. You mistake me. You misheard me.
I mistake you.
You mistake me. You mistake me. You mistook me. You misheard me.
Yeah, I was actually going to send you a survey to see what kind of things you might be interested in. So the jury's still kind of out, but I have ideas.
Okay. All right. Do you have a basketball hoop?
I do not, but there are many local basketball hoops
I
around.
think it's kind of a tough sell, though. If I'm only going to be there like, hey, Kirsten, I'm going to play basketball with Jordan. They're not going to go shoot baskets. Like, if it was in your driveway, that's one thing. But,
the real question is, does Kirsten like video game bars?
Yeah, we've been to a couple of them. I think we would like that. It depends. Are they free?
It's like $5 to get in.
But then the games are free?
Yeah.
Okay, that's good. Because I have a hard time
justifying
bars in Chicago,
$6.
you have to you got to pay for drinks, and then you have to pay per game. It's like that's just kind of a hassle. Like I don't know.
Yeah. No.
That is a shtick that I generally go for. So yeah, Jordan, whatever you want to show us is going to be good. We haven't seen each other in many years, so
as long as I'm with you, I'll be happy.
I'm looking forward to a heartfelt embrace and. Man, just talking a lot about home improvement in the podcast. I just can't. It's our first annual board meeting, with investors.
We should make it a goal to not speak one word of home and podcast or anything related to it during that time. But I fear it will not happen.
We gotta record something.
Yeah,
in person. Maybe a little Periscope action.
Ooh,
that might be easier than recording an episode.
It might be, but maybe we'll just turn it into an episode after that.
Jordan, what are we covering next week?
Let's go to the videotape.
That's what it's called?
Yep.
I thought that was like a phrase, like, let's go to the tape and then I'll find out. Okay. All right, well, that sounds fun. Looking forward to it.
It's better than he ain't heavy, he's just irresponsible.
You got a plan for when this Man in the House episode's coming out, or are we just kind of stock and stashing that one?
Stock and stashing? Man, I was thinking about late March, so later this month.
All right, well, I got to watch that soon.
So. Yeah, we're recording next week, so I gotta watch it as well. But
hey, man, Squatting Dog lives.
It's probably gonna be as culturally aware as Black Panther was.
Yeah, you're right. There's gonna be a lot of twitchy Native American stuff in that. Yow! All right, well, I can't wait to kind of meander through that plot.
That's kind of what we've chosen as a profession at this point.
Chevy Chase is gonna fall over a lot, though. Nobody falls like Chevy Chase, so I'm looking forward to that. Listeners, thank you for listening. Jordan, thank you for joining me. Paul F. Tompkins, thank you for your conversation and for considering being on our flourishing home improvement podcast. And if there's anything I can do to, I or my co-host Jordan, to sway you to come on the show, let us know. We don't have money. We don't have much. We've got our pride. And that's enough for us. So thank you for listening, Jordan.
Jeez.
Take care.
Take care, everybody.